First of all, I'm going to tell you, the childhood, the teenager, the adult doesn't exist. It's like I say, if you go into your room and there's a bad smell there, you will sniff until you find the source of the smell, isn't it? Then you might find it's like a dead rat or something, then you can get rid of it. So this smell is the smell of unfairness and the rage or anger it brings up inside. This is the smell, and you're tracing it back. Where is this smell coming from, you see? You say unfairness, you see. Unfairness, it arouses this smell of anger. And who really is angry, and really about what? Who is the one who feels injustice has been put in your face, you see? And really throw all your attention to locate the center of that point where it feels that, because usually in such cases why it is so intense is because there is strong identification there. If there's no identification, nothing. Identification, like something's happening to me and you, this very strong smell of you and me, or I and others, or whatever, is usually can flare up such strong, pungent smells, you see. So the I, you try to locate the sense. Where is it? Who is the one who is really so angry? Anger I can sense. Anger we know. But the one who is really suffering the anger, just for a moment, you sink your attention there and see if you can go to the very core of where the suffering is and see if you can find a sufferer there. This is a question, and I think you've understood it, the questions.
To work when that issue comes up, or
sometimes if the button is being pressed, maybe there's not enough firepower to ask the question. You see, it fills the screen so quickly, isn't it? It's so quick. So in moments like this, if the rage or the anger or whatever it is, the reaction, if it's so strong, it means that almost all your attention is on it. You've logged in. And so you're in that space, in that room with this, so to speak. In moments like this, of such fierce throbbing, what I say in this moment, don't try and rescue yourself. First thing. The reflex is to try and go in and to try and move things about or find some distraction or whatever to get out of it. Or, more than this, you don't want to get out of it. You're fully in it, and you're going to revel in it. You see, one of these things happen. So in this moment, be fully present with this. Feel it in the body, its energetic presence, the anger, the whatever it is there. Let it be there. And I say in this moment, keep quiet. These words maybe doesn't seem to make sense, but just be present. Don't interpret or judge, which is probably strong reactions which are pulling through the attention to go and get stuck in. Be aware of this. Be aware of this, these pulls. But be as though you only exist through your eyes alone in this moment. That you can only see and feel. Don't interfere for a bit. Keep quiet. And very soon, a sense of separation is there. There will be distinctly a space of peace or quiet. And then there is the shaking tree in this moment. And you will see which part of it, which side you're on. You'll be the place of that stillness will be there somehow. You can still feel the ripples inside the body. You can perceive them, but they won't be so claustrophobic. Feel that and be in this. When this sense of relief comes, also don't even purchase this relief also. Still just be the eyes that see. Don't identify with anything at all. This is one way.
If the storm is quite strong or the reaction is quite strong, in a meditative, quiet state another time, would you work on this?
No, it's enough. Gradually what's happening is that you're allowing yourself to be present in this rather than to get stuck in, to jump in and identify, which perpetuates the state. And you're not available in this moment. You're so caught up. And sometimes life gives you opportunities. When this rage is there, the doorbell will ring or the phone will ring. Or something will to say, okay, answer the phone just to break your pull. Some children will come to the door for trick or treat or something. Something is life is saying, okay, come out of this. And sometimes you don't want, you get very angry that people interrupt your anger. Some people, they are able to break off and to go for a walk. Just know that that's enough. Just to break and make that choice. It might seem difficult, but after a few steps, the lungs open up and a new ambient is coming. You see. Often when you're in this state also, you cannot communicate with your partner and they will dismiss also. It's easier to dismiss you because you're not coming clean. You're coming like fight. You see. It's not. Then you are unjust. You're being unjust yourself, you see.
What if there's some feeling that a troubled childhood, there's this unfairness issue came, going back into this over the years, trying to find in the childhood the seed was strengthened, and then that habit pattern became. But if I have a feeling it's from a childhood. Something in the childhood.
First of all, I'm going to tell you, the childhood, the teenager, the adult doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. We're dreaming. You're the beingness that is aware of the anger at any stage, from childhood, teenager, middle age, old age, doesn't matter.
Visionary Women is a volunteer-run organization, and I know that every single person who is here is giving their time to one organization or another. And the fact that you have 9 million volunteers, and you were talking about the relationship between volunteerism and willingness, and that it's through willingness that you uplift your consciousness, if I'm quoting you correctly, or I'm understanding it. In some ways talking about how it could be a doorway to becoming a bigger person than who you are.
See, before we come to women, first thing is visionary. What a vision means is, say everybody has desires. Desire is an incremental way of enhancing our life. Today you desire, I must have a home, tomorrow you desire, I must have this money, tomorrow you desire something else. These are incremental ways of arranging and rearranging our lives, which are needed to do a few things. When you say, I'm a visionary, what you're saying is, I have a larger desire, which is not about just incremental improvement of my life. Desire is about me always. Vision is an all-inclusive process. So, this itself is a phenomenal thing. If people, instead of having desires, if they have a vision, vision is always all-inclusive. Desire is personal. Desire leads to incremental changes and improvements. Vision can transform the whole situation. I like music. So, about willingness, because you said you're a volunteer organization. To be a volunteer means somebody who is doing something willingly, right? There's no other compulsion. There are no financial compulsions, there are no social compulsions, there is no something else. You want to do something willingly. So when you're a willing participant, right now, you're a volunteer. I'm asking all of you, right now, are you compelled to be here or are you here voluntarily? Oh, thank you. Because I've spoken to conscripted people also. I've spoken in the prisons, I've spoken in many places. So you're here willingly. You're doing something willingly is the fundamental of your joy, isn't it so? Hello? However simple or stupid or idiotic activity it is, I'm doing something willingly, makes a world of difference, isn't it so? Hello? Yes. The difference between heaven and hell is just this. You're doing something willingly, that's your heaven. You're doing something unwillingly, that's your hell. We have already taken on attitudes, what we like and what we don't like. I like this person, I don't like this person. Now with this person I will do things willingly, with this person I'll do things unwillingly. This may be two people, two aspects of life, two communities, two nations, two many things. This I will do willingly, this I do unwillingly. This means I've decided in my mind this is good, this is bad. When I hear even on national news channels, good guys and bad guys, it just… once you have this kind of thing, you are going to be disastrous to the planet, it's just a question of time. The moment you decide, this is a good person, this is a bad person, this has gone deep into American society. No, there are no good people and bad people. Everybody is oscillating between the two. If you create a very pleasant, wonderful atmosphere, everybody behaves wonderfully. If you create an unpleasant atmosphere, a whole lot of people act nasty. Yes or no? There are joyful people and miserable people, but there are no good people and bad people.
That's big.
The moment we think we are good, we are entitled to destroy the bad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, we've been destroying a lot of people for a long time. Time to stop that. Because human beings are in different levels of experience and understanding. Variety of people. Anybody who is not like you is obviously bad, isn't it? Isn't it so? Those who are not like me must be bad people. Because the basis of goodness and what you think is goodness is decided by you. No, you have no business to do that. Willing means this, I'm just willing. I'm 100% yes to life. I am not yes to this one, no to this one, no. I am just yes and yes to life. If you are 100% yes to life, you are a volunteer.
Oh, that's
You have become a willing life. You have become so willing that you have no will of your own. People ask me, Sadhguru, how do you operate with all these people? All kinds of horrible questions they're asking, they're doing this, they're doing that. I said, my life is not about them, it's about me. It's about how I am. It's about me. It doesn't matter how they are, that's their choice. But how I am is my choice, this is my way. No matter what they do, I am like this. Because I have not given that freedom to anybody, that somebody can freak me, somebody can make me angry, somebody can make me happy, somebody can make me unhappy. These privileges I kept to myself. It's time you do that too. Because if somebody else can decide what can happen within you right now, isn't this the ultimate slavery? Huh? Isn't this? Someone else can decide what should happen within you. What happens around you, of course, so many people decide. What happens around us is not 100% ours. But what happens within me, Must be my making, isn't it? Right now, just about anybody can freak anybody because they're not volunteers, they're unwilling. Volunteering means you have no will of your own. You can do whatever is needed. You know, we are a volunteer organization. This means all kinds of people. Most of them are not qualified for the jobs that they're doing. And I cannot fire them because they're volunteers. So people keep coming up to me on a daily basis, Sadhguru, I can't work with this person, she's so horrible, I can't do it. I tell them, see, in this world, this is the sort of people who exist, like this, like this, like this, like this is the kind of people there are. But if you want to work with ideal people, you must go to heaven. And today.
Today.
But if you think what you're doing is very significant, you must learn to work with all these horrible people. This is how the world is. If you think what you're doing is very significant, you learn to work with all kinds of people. You will see horrible people will do wonderful things. Yes?
Yes, yes.
But if you want to work with ideal people, you won't find any. I haven't found one yet. All kinds of mixed bags.
Yes.
But if you are willing that you are not yes and no, yes to one, no to another, you're simply one big yes, you will find a way.
Thank you so much. That I always say that it's the resistance to life.
Swamiji, can you explain what is life? How can we avoid angry?
I'm sorry, what is?
Explain what is life.
What is life?
Yeah.
Oh. And what's the second part of it?
How can you avoid angry?
How can you avoid anger? See, if you're driving on the Coimbatore streets, you have to avoid the medians which are placed in odd places. You have to avoid bad drivers. You have to avoid drunken men crossing the street, children crossing the street, all kinds of things. But when you're driving in Coimbatore street, do you have to avoid the moon? I'm asking, do you have to avoid the moon? No, because the moon is not on the street, isn't it? So similarly, right now are you angry? No? Then why should you avoid it? There's no need to avoid it. It is just that you think anger is an entity. Anger is not an entity. You become angry. You become angry. Anger is not sitting somewhere and you go hit it. There is no such thing. You become angry. When you become angry, is it pleasant for you or unpleasant for you? Unpleasant for you. Unpleasant for others for sure, unpleasant for yourself also. Today, medical science proves to you, when you're angry, you're actually poisoning your system. You know, we have always known this, but today chemical tests clearly show you that you're actually poisoning your system, generating poison in the system by being angry. So, why would you want to poison yourself? It is not a conscious act. You're poisoning yourself, you're causing unpleasantness to yourself only because your mind is not taking instructions from you, isn't it? It is not taking instructions from you. If it was taking instructions from you, you would have said blissfulness, isn't it? You wouldn't say anger. But now when you want to be peaceful, it is getting angry because it is not taking instructions from you. So if your mind is not taking instructions from you, you have to pay a little more attention to it. Why is it not taking instructions from you? If you understand this, you don't have to avoid anger, because anger is not sitting there and getting at you. You are becoming angry, you are becoming unhappy, you are becoming miserable. These things are happening to you essentially because you have not done anything to take your faculties under your control. It is happening accidentally, just by chance. If outside situations are good, you are also good. If outside situations are bad, you're also bad. That is not how human life should be. Human life should be like this. If I am good, everything around me becomes good. This should be the reality, isn't it? Right now, if things around me are whichever way, I will become that way. No. Human consciousness should create situations. Right now, situations are creating human consciousness. That's not the right way to shape human life.
I often feel overwhelmed by anger. So and that anger makes me throw my spiritual practice really out of the window. So it's like a big impotence that I feel, and pessimism. So it's not going to work anyway. So just the hell with it. And that's one thing. And the other thing is, I also feel very often that something is wrong. So that I need to take some action. To correct something that probably is just imaginary, so it's unreal. So there is no action needed, most probably, but I have to do something about it. So, and I get carried away by that. For example, right now I feel my heart beat very strongly. And I guess there's no reason for that, but…
well, you're doing public speaking right now, so maybe that's why. And that's fine. You acknowledge that the heart is beating, and you let that be. And what the feeling that something is wrong, that's not a personal problem of yours. It's a universal human condition that to carry that feeling inside that something is wrong, and then the mind looks for what can I do about this, or where is it? Where is the thing that's wrong? And then it misinterprets situations. So, anger. When anger comes, of course, the energy field of it immediately flows into your mind, and the thoughts that you then think are reflections of the anger. The anger makes you think certain thoughts, and as you put it, it says all that spiritual stuff obviously doesn't work. These are thoughts that come out of the anger, the energy field.
Yes, or whatever I do, it's gonna be always the same, and no point of it because it's not going to work. So that's the kind of thoughts that it generates.
But next time it happens, see if you are able to, in addition to thinking those thoughts, at the same time, you can be aware that these are thoughts that have arisen out of the energy field of anger. In other words, see if you can have an awareness. It's not easy with anger because it comes so suddenly. Whether you can have an awareness not only that there's the energy of anger flowing through you, but also perhaps that the energy of anger, which may be old anger that has lived in you for a long time, pain body I call it, which can easily then rise into your mind and control your thoughts. Are you able to stay aware while it happens and recognize anger as an expression of the pain body? And if you're thinking angry thoughts, to realize that these are the thoughts of anger. Anger is thinking these thoughts. They are not true. So they are simply thoughts that reflect the energy field of anger. So the experiment then is whether you can stay aware as the observer or the witness of those thoughts and of the energy field of anger. You may not. I'm just suggesting it as an experiment. Whether or not you're able to stay present depends on how much presence there is already in you, how much presence power there is already in you. Perhaps after having spent some time here with us, there may be more presence power in you because this energy field is helpful for drawing that out of you. Once you're there as the witness, then changes begin to happen. You don't even have to do anything. You know what I mean by witness. It's simply to witness, to be aware of the energy, so that you don't become completely identified with it. So the witnessing consciousness is in the same way that you now witness perhaps a certain nervousness. Your heart is beating. There may be a certain nervousness as you stand there. And you witness, there's the nervousness and there's the heart beating. And the witness allows everything to be as it is. But there's then a deeper dimension in you from where you can say, my heart is beating. I feel nervous energy inside me. These are still verbalizations, but beyond the verbalization, there's the ability to simply see it, so to speak. Then that will change all the old patterns. The more awareness comes in, the more the old patterns will change. So you don't have to change yourself, because that's complicated. Many people try to do that. I have to change myself. The most powerful, the real change comes with becoming aware of whatever is happening inside you, so that the anger is no longer you, the anger is anger, and you are the awareness. You know it, you see it, you feel it. There it is. And that's the decisive shift from being the anger to having the anger in your energy field and observing it. It's a wonderful shift. So use anger as your spiritual practice. If you fail, of course, anger will immediately say, you see, you failed again, you can't do it. That's the anger speaking.
There is something wrong with you.
Yes, particularly that there's something wrong with me. Now, I don't know if you may be surprised to know that there are millions, billions of people on the planet who have that same thought pattern. There's something wrong with me. It's part of the human ego. But so you bring in the awareness, and that will change everything. That's the only true key. If you fail, next time the anger arises, what happens, you will become aware immediately after the anger has subsided. And then, oh, there it was, and I wasn't present. And then the moment will come when you are there in the first, if you can catch the anger the first moment it comes, or if you might even see that it could be the result of a thought that creates the anger, and if you can be there in the first moment before it becomes the fully blown anger, then you can stay there, and it might not even become fully blown anger if you catch it the first moment. You can feel the first stirrings of anger. You may only have 3 seconds. It may come very quickly. Anger is like an explosive energy. You may only have 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds to stay there with your awareness and feel it. Oh, it's coming. There it is. That's the pain body, the angry pain body coming. And if you catch it in the early stage, don't suppress it. By catch it, I mean feel it, be there as a witness. Then you can stay, even as it grows, the witness grows with it. It may not even grow. We'll have to see whether it still grows into full-blown anger or not. That doesn't matter. And so you be thankful for your anger, because the anger can become a very important spiritual practice for you, because through it, awareness can grow. So it's sometimes strange for people to see you can be thankful for things that you think are the most difficult obstacles in your life, but they can become your greatest opportunity for spiritual awakening. Use it as part of your practice.
Yeah, I think the most difficult thing to deal with is impotence, when you feel it's not going to work.
Yes, you feel powerlessness.
Yes,
Yes.
like deep pessimism. It's not going to work. It's not.
Yes.
You're about to fail.
Yes. And you have to recognize that these are thought forms. They are thoughts that arise in your mind. And when you're aware, you don't need to believe in every thought that arises. You don't no longer, and that's an enormous freedom. You recognize it as a thought that comes from anger, not the truth. It's a thought form that comes from anger, the pain body. And if a thought comes from anger, it's not the truth, it's a distortion. Recognize it and you say, oh, there's another thought form that says something negative, that there's nothing you can do, you might as well give up. Whatever thoughts come, recognize that it's a thought form. Do you see how important that is? Well, perhaps we will meet again in a year's time, and it's always interesting to see how things have evolved as you practice now. What happened to you as you bring awareness into the anger, see what happens to it a year later.
Thank you.
We need to finish now. Thank you. Wonderful. It's just wonderful to see consciousness evolving, awakening in the different human forms, in different ways, and that we can be thankful for everything, especially the difficult parts of our life, because without that, there would be no awakening. It's that which creates the challenges create the necessary energy for the flowering of consciousness. So it's not only in the movies where things need to go wrong. In every movie, if nothing goes wrong, there's no movie. The character doesn't develop. Everybody remains the same. In a bad movie, that which goes wrong is resolved on some external level, but in a good movie, as the character faces his or her problems, he or she grows, changes, develops abilities that he or she didn't have before. And in very good movies, there's some kind of spiritual realization. But only because something went wrong.